You know how sometimes you're trying to wrap your head around a big, abstract idea, like love or humility, and you just wish you could make it tangible? Well, today we're going to dive into a really fascinating meditation from the 17th century that does pretty much exactly that. It uses this simple but really powerful metaphor of clothing to explore some incredibly deep divine virtues. So what you're looking at here is the real deal, the source text itself. And what's so important to remember is that this is a personal prayer. This isn't some grand sermon for a huge crowd. It's more like peeking into someone's private spiritual journal. It's one person's way of trying to connect with the divine using something real, something tangible, like clothes, to understand something that's totally intangible. And right from the get-go, the author lays out the core idea. They feel this divine instruction to clothe Jesus. Now, obviously, we're not talking about literally putting clothes on him. It's this beautiful, creative, spiritual exercise to dress this divine figure in virtues that are imagined as garments. And that one idea sets the stage for everything that follows. And that brings us to the heart of this whole thing, metaphorical clothing. Throughout this meditation, the author takes these huge, floaty virtues, things you can't see or touch, and gives them color, form, and texture as actual pieces of clothing. It's just a brilliant way to make these powerful ideas feel solid and really stick in your mind. All right, let's get into the first garment and see just how the author builds this idea. They start with a foundational virtue, innocence, and picture it as a simple white robe. I mean, that just clicks, right? The choice of white is so intuitive. We automatically connect it with purity, with being clean, with a fresh start. The author is totally leaning into that universal symbol to start the spiritual dressing. But look closer at the words here. The author gets really specific. It's not just any white robe. It's one such as infants wear. And that little detail, it's everything. It powerfully links the abstract idea of innocence to the very real, very pure state of a newborn who is completely new to the world. So you see, this white robe isn't just a one-note symbol. It's got layers. Of course, it's about purity and holiness, but it's also about the promise of a brand new beginning, just like a baby has. And it's even a nod to divine power, this incredible ability to create perfect innocence from absolutely nothing. So, after laying that foundation of innocence, the author moves on to something a little more complex, humility. And for this, we get a totally new garment and a new color. Now, you might be thinking, green for humility? That's not as immediately obvious as white for innocence, is it? But stick with me, because the author's reasoning here is just fascinating. It's all about growth, and more importantly, where things grow. I just love this imagery. Grace is ever flourishing and it never withers, just like a healthy plant that's always vibrant and alive. And where does it grow best? Not on some high mountaintop of pride, but down in the valley of humility. It's just a perfect way to picture it. So this green tunic represents a virtue that is alive. Humility here isn't seen as weakness at all, but as the source of real, enduring strength. It's the fertile ground where grace can truly thrive, away from the spotlight. And that brings us to the grand finale, the last garment, the virtue that is presented as the ultimate one, the one that ties it all together. And for this, the author chooses the most regal garment of all. Yep, purple, the color of royalty. And it's used to symbolize love, or what the text calls charity. That choice immediately tells you that love holds a place of supreme importance and authority in this whole framework. And this is really the climax of the whole vision. Love isn't just a nice feeling, it's a royal mantle. It's majestic, it's powerful, and it's absolutely essential. Notice how the author says none can enter heaven without it. This is the garment that unlocks the final door. So when you break it down, this purple mantle represents love as this dynamic, powerful force, a fire. It's royal, which means it's the top dog, the most important of all the virtues. And it's completely non-negotiable. It's the required outfit for entry into the kingdom of heaven. So let's just recap the spiritual wardrobe we've assembled. You've got the white robe of innocence, the green tunic of humility, and the purple mantle of love. Each one builds on the last, creating this elegant, simple, but incredibly powerful way to think about virtue. But wait, the meditation doesn't just stop there with these definitions. The author takes one final and maybe the most crucial step, moving from the abstract symbol to a real, living example. Then, the author sees the Virgin Mary, and guess what she's wearing? The very same outfit. The white robe, the green tunic, and the purple mantle. She becomes the human embodiment of all these divine ideas, a perfect model of what is actually possible. And that's what makes this whole thing so powerful. By seeing these virtues on a human figure, this rose without thorns and lily without spot, the author turns them from these lofty concepts into something real, something attainable, a lived reality you can actually strive for. So the whole process really breaks down into 4 simple steps. You start with an idea, you give it a symbol you can picture in your head, you find a model who perfectly embodies it, and then you ask for the guidance to pursue it yourself. It's a complete roadmap for spiritual growth, all packed into this beautiful metaphor of clothing. So this writer from the 17th century used garments to make sense of virtue. And it kind of leaves us with a fascinating question for ourselves, doesn't it? In our own modern lives, what are the symbols, the concrete metaphors, our own metaphorical clothing that we use to help us grasp and strive for the values we care about most?